Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marcia Amos, and I am the Accounts Payable Lead at Clarkner Metals. I want to talk today about our EDI system and how to work your EDI error list. Everyone should be receiving via email an EDI error list. I'm aware that if you are the buyer, if you're listed as the buyer, whoever types in the PO is going to be listed as the buyer on these invoices, and you will get an email when these invoices do not match or cannot match. And we are having quite a few of these, and I just wanted to give a quick tutorial on how to handle some of these invoices that come through EDI and you can't seem to figure out what the problem is. And just because it says no material received does not mean the material is not there. It simply means EDI cannot find this material. And I'm aware that for errors that say no material received, the buyer is not getting an email. So the best option is to go through this EDI error list that is emailed out every day. If you do not receive this error list, you can run this error list in Still 2, or you can ask to be added to receive this. So here we have an invoice that's been, is pretty well aged, it's dated in May. And it's saying no material received. So if we go to look into Still 2 and we look at, if we go to Still 2 and we look at the screen here, the accounts payable increase screen, where it shows, we can look this PO number up and we can look at not match. It shows there are receipts here, okay? The EDI system has to have an exact match by PO, line number, the BL number. And if we see here, the vendor has submitted a BL 082-33856. If we look at Still 2, we see those receipts here, but the dash was not entered in the BL number. So EDI cannot find this material. It cannot match this line because the BL number does not match. The BL number has to be an exact match. If you see this happening, or the vendor could have submitted, just say line number 2 instead, and they've submitted the wrong line number. Either event, this can be fixed. Okay, this situation can be corrected. So if they've submitted a BL that's not correct, you have two courses of action. You may either contact someone at the branch who does receiving and receiving corrections, and you can have them attempt to correct the BL, but it is much faster to do what I'm about to show you. So I'm going to copy this BL number, which is the correct BL, Control copy, and I would do the line number 2 if I needed to have the line number. Okay, now I'm going to go into Still 2. I'm going to go into Applications, Accounts Payable, Forms, EDI Invoices. I'm going to pull that invoice up. It is invoice number 964 no 969420 969420 9694 1210. Okay. I'm going to put that invoice number in there. I'm going to hit F8, and then it's bringing me the EDI invoice. If this invoice has a C in this status column, it means the invoice is closed. It's either been closed because EDI has matched it, which in that case you wouldn't be looking it up because it will not be showing on your error list. Or it has been closed by a corporate AP specialist because perhaps we've had to key this invoice manually for a couple reasons. Maybe a credit memo was obtained by the buyer because the invoice was billed incorrectly, and they went to the vendor and asked for a credit memo. When there's a credit memo involved, the invoice has to be processed manually. We'll key that credit memo, and then we'll key the invoice in full, and they will go at the same time. So we cannot short pay. So if there's a pricing problem, we must have the credit memo to process it, and that must be done manually. So once we process that, we will come into this screen and AP can manually close it. So in this particular case, this vendor has this BL number here with a dash. We can simply delete that, and we can put in what we have in still 2 so that EDI can now find it. And without the numbers, it's the numbers without the dash. Okay, we could change the PO line number if that happened to be the case. If the vendor submitted the wrong PO line number, at this point we could update that as well. Once you've updated this information, it's very few items here you can update. You cannot touch any of this pricing or anything of that nature. But you can help EDI find this by giving it the correct BL number. And if you notice that you're doing this quite often, that the BL is not being, the same BLs are not being used, that the vendor is using one BL and then the receivers at the branch are using a different one, you may want to reach out to the branch and say, hey, you are using the wrong BL number. Where are you getting your BL number from? It is causing invoices to stop in my queue. So once you've updated this information, all you have to do is hit reprocess invoice, and it'll tell you invoice has been set to process again, and you hit OK. So now this invoice, even though it was still trying to work, it wasn't closed, but it has new information, and it should be able to find that line. So overnight, this will match via EDI, and that invoice will now be released from your error list because it has found what it needs. So you will get an email for EDI when there's something missing and EDI cannot find. If EDI cannot find it because of a BL number, it'll say no material received. So when you're going through this list and you're just searching for your name, you can do control find here, and you can just look up your name. And only look at yours that are on this error list. Everyone on the error list, there are 2 lists. One is the audit list. That's just a listing of all the invoices that have been submitted and working through EDI. And it'll tell you the ones that matched, and it'll show you the list of ones that did not match. This error list shows you invoice by invoice and what the problem is. This is giving you a note. It's telling you no material received. If there was a shortage, let's see, I did see one with a problem. Here, this invoice here says that it has a difference of $934.50. I can tell you, if you look in still 2, this freight is missing. Simply add the freight under this vendor, and this invoice will match. This invoice is variance is out because of the freight. So obviously freight is not, there's not a freight accrual for this amount under Arcelor under this BL. If someone could correct that, this will go. You do not need to reach out to corporate accounts payable. This system is designed so that if it has what it needs, it will process. Corporate accounts payable cannot add accruals. They cannot go in there and add freight or anything of that nature. That has to be done by somebody at the branch with authority to make accruals or receipts or inventory receipts corrections. So the branch will need to be contacted, and the minute they add this freight under this vendor, this invoice will process. No problem. If the vendor has billed us freight in error, you will need to send them a request for a credit memo. And then you will let accounts payable, a corporate AP know, I have sent a message or I have contacted this vendor for a credit memo because they indeed billed us for freight and they should not have done that. So they're going to send us a credit memo. Then this invoice will need to be processed manually when the credit memo is received. But whoever the accounts payable specialist is that handles this vendor can make a note of that this invoice is waiting for a credit memo. Okay? And that's how you handle your error list.